This is Varun Nagaraj, Chief Operating Officer at Bidgely Corporation. Today, I'm really glad to have the opportunity to have a fireside chat with Bhavani Amirthalingam, who is the Chief Digital Information Officer at Ameren. Bhavani, we're glad you could join us today. Welcome.
Thank you, Varun. Pleasure to be here as well.
Thank you. Thank you. As we get started, Bhavani, perhaps we could begin by you sharing some background on Ameren and also specifically what your role is as the Chief Digital Information Officer at Ameren.
Ameren's a Fortune 500 investor-owned, rate-regulated utility, serving Missouri and Illinois, covering about 64,000 square miles in area, servicing and powering the quality of life for 2.4 million electric customers and about 90,000 gas customers in our service territory. In my role, I have the unique privilege of, leading the digital transformation for this very purpose-driven and customer-focused organization. And, it's also a very unique time for our industry as technology is playing a really key role in transforming the energy industry.
Thank you, Bhavani. Of course, digital transformation as a whole is a fascinating topic, but it's also a pretty broad phrase. So can you tell us, when you talk about digital transformation at Ameren, what are the main focus areas?
We've got 5 key focus areas when we think about our overall transformation, and it's very tied closely into our corporate strategy. And at Ameren, everything in our strategy starts with the customer at the center of it. And so, our first focus areas around our customer experience and how do we provide, a seamless, secure, personalized experience for our customers is at the core of our digital investments, with respect to that. And then, our second area of focus is around the grid. The grid is, kind of the center of value creation for our customers. So if you think about reliability and resiliency of the grid and the grid of the future, our digital investments, really are focused around supporting millions of connected devices going onto the grid, the communication infrastructure, the data, the analytics that go hand in hand. So that's, our focus around the grid and our digital posture as it relates to that. The third is as it relates to customer affordability. So again, in the lens of the customer, we're really fortunate to have some of the lowest rates in the country in our service territory. And so really, how do we think about driving operational efficiencies at scale while enabling the future of work for our front office, back office, while keeping our customer rates as low as possible. So that's the focus around, future of work, enabling the coworker experience and customer affordability. And then the fourth area, of focus, we are in the critical infrastructure business. We manage a key part of our national, our nation's critical infrastructure. And as part of that, cybersecurity is always top of mind. So having a cyber-first mindset across our entire, technology, our IT, our OT footprint is very key. So cyber technology and data privacy risks, is a key area of focus across our entire transformation. And then the last one, but probably one of the most important ones during this time, as we all are going through unprecedented times, is the focus around coworker experience. And, if you think about the workplace, and the workplace is very different today, and so those workplace interactions for today, but also for the future, is also a key area of focus for us from a transformation standpoint.
Okay, so 5 meaty topics that we could dig into. I think we're going to have to prioritize and maybe pick 3 of them that we can really sink our teeth into. And so the 3 that I think might be most interesting, to our audience, the first one I think undoubtedly is around customer experience and what does digital transformation mean in that regard. Given that this is a utility conference, I think talking about the grid and the implications on the grid seems like a logical next step. And of course, we're living through unprecedented times. So discussing what does digital transformation mean on the work experience, how do we as companies run our day-to-day business and work with our colleagues, I think that seems like an interesting third topic. So do those 3 sort of, do those three make sense? Should we dig
Oh,
into those three?
absolutely. I can start with the customer and then, and then we can go through the rest. But, as I said, the customer is at the, heart of our strategy here at Ameren, the center of our strategy at Ameren. And, we think about customer experience and we think about this, secure, personalized, seamless, frictionless experience for our customers. As it relates to the key moments that matter for them. For a utility customer, it revolves around, making their, paying their bills and the whole process around it. When there's an outage, knowing where we are during an outage and restoration. So that whole experience around, billing and payments, outage, and then, service orders. You think about whether it's a residential customer or a commercial customer moving in, moving out, and that whole experience. So we think about, the customer journey and these key moments that matter and how we provide, a frictionless, seamless, personalized experience across channels, because some customers like to engage via the web. Some want a text, some want, to call in and engage through the IVR. And so really, no matter whether they're engaging through social media or IVR or chat or text, or our website, really providing them that experience cross channels, depending on their personal choice, is a key part of our focus as well from a customer experience standpoint. And then the second area of focus, is, if you think about it, it ties between it this is an area that crosses between customer experience and our grid. And that is our smart meter enablement across our service territories. We've got over 1 million smart meters deployed, and we continue to drive that journey, across Missouri and Illinois, and in the coming years as well. And there's many things that whole implementation drives, right? From a customer experience standpoint, how we actually stop service, being able to do that with speed, with agility, but also in a very cost-effective fashion is huge. Being able to take the data that we get, from these smart meters and being able to provide our customers with choice, as it relates to how they manage their energy usage, and building products and services, that not only, all of these, whether it's the customer experience or products and services, really not just focused on meeting our customers' energy needs, but really exceeding their expectations, is a huge focus for us as it relates to, the smart meter piece. And the third element of our customer strategy that, again, digital and our technology posture is so core to enabling it is, we firmly believe, a differentiated coworker experience and engaged, diverse coworker base, would drive that differentiating experience for our customers. So, providing our coworkers, in our customer care centers, for instance, with the right technology posture, so they have a 360-degree view of the customer at every interaction, is also a big part of, the enablement for us from a technology perspective.
I think most modern companies are putting the customer at the center of their transformation initiatives. And it makes perfect sense, of course, for Ameren and the utility industry to do the same. So could you elaborate a little bit more about how smart meters and the kinds of energy insights that are contained within them are so critical to you being able to offer a good customer experience?
So if you think of, the insights you get real time from, the smart meter data that you're capturing, and being able to actually then provide visibility to customers on how are they consuming their energy, so, and then having products and services built around that, right? Giving them options to, doing, shifting how they consume energy, maybe during the day, building programs around, we call it we have a program called Peak Time Rewards, for instance. So really looking at giving customers visibility to their energy consumption, and then giving them the options, for time of use pricing, for instance, as an example, that again, enabled by the smart meter data, is all part of, those products and services, giving customers that ability to, manage their energy consumption, to your earlier point. These are unique customer, journey as it relates to our industry.
That makes perfect sense. And the thing I really liked was how you extended the notion of customer experience to also include new products and services that Ameren may not have necessarily thought of before, but that now makes sense as a part of enriching the customer journey.
That's right. Our customers, have new experiences as it relates to how they engage, how they engage in when they go on Amazon.com and how they go in and, when they're ordering pizza, it's like these experiences, transcend into how they want to engage with the utility as well. And so really having, the visibility, giving them the choice of, what channel they want to engage and how they want to engage, giving them products and services. We also have customers, you think about customer demographics, it spans a wide variety of, what's top of mind for customers, and being able to tailor those products and services and experience, based on the demographics is also extremely important.
So Bhavani, if I were in your shoes, I'd be excited about, the opportunity. It's truly a once in a lifetime opportunity to take, a traditional, in the traditional industry, take a well-regarded company and lead them through their, customer experience transformation. But I would also be a little nervous along the lines of the fact that customers today have such a high expectation around customer experience. Customers are interacting with so many people over omni-channels. That I think one of the challenges that you have, that I'm sure you guys are well on your path to meeting, is that the fact that the bar for customer experience is probably a lot higher now than it used to be 5 years ago.
I actually think it's a lot higher now than it used to be 5 months ago, pre-COVID. So you're absolutely right. Expectations continue to evolve. Our customers get more used to certain channels. And, I love the term, which is, yesterday's wow is today's norm, right? And so you have to continue to look at what, continue to evolve that footprint. And that's, a core part of our overall strategy as well. And I think it's, if you think about fundamentally, it's customers, want reliability, it's very foundational as it relates to reliable, resilient grid operations. Customers absolutely want reliable power. It's foundational. They want affordability is another foundational enabler as it relates to our customers, right? They want affordable power, and then they want choice and convenience, and they want sustainability. So I think it's looking at all of these pieces and making sure the experience part, the products and services part, goes across all of this is extremely important.
So let's look at the second pillar now that you mentioned, the one about the grid, right? And the fact that operating the grid more efficiently with the new kinds of information that you have. So let's talk about what digital transformation of the grid means.
So if you think of the data that we collect from millions of smart, connected devices on the grid, again, from smart meters, we actually, one of the use cases we have is optimizing the voltage flow on our grid. And so then taking that and applying it, to some of our voltage circuits, for our low-income customers, again, optimizing, going back to that customer affordability piece, optimizing the flow of energy, and as a result, making it more affordable to our customers. So again, leveraging data to build a more efficient grid. And then, there are a number of initiatives, if you step back and think about grid automation, right? How we restore power today is so different from how we did maybe 10 years ago. And so you have more and more connected devices going onto the smart grid, driving distribution automation. And so really making sure, and there's two-way energy flow, you've got penetration of distributed energy resources as well happening in our space. And so, making sure you have the right communication infrastructure to support these, the millions of connected devices going on the grid, the two-way energy flow is very foundational, and so we've made some significant investments, and we continue to as it relates to building out the communication grid, to support the grid of the future. And so part of that is, one is around our fiber, building out our fiber backbone. Mm-hmm. And, we're looking to have about 4,500 miles of fiber backbone built, to support our core operations. And then, an area that we are, beginning to invest in is our field area networks, again, because that's a key part of, driving the digitization on the distribution side of the grid. Mm-hmm. And, utilities over years have built, a lot of, over decades, right, have built, have purpose-built networks. And, you had them built initially to do, radio communication, right? Very different, needs compared to what we are doing today with the smart grid. And so really having, we're looking to invest in our private LTE infrastructure that can support, the field area network needs as we put these millions of connected devices on it. So communication infrastructure, to support all of this that we have going on in the grid is equally important. And then, the other piece that is just absolutely core is data analytics, automation, AI, that span both the customer and the grid piece of it, right? As you think about, the millions of data points we get, the volume and velocity of data that we receive, that we then are able to take and build intelligent operations, build the differentiated customer experience that we talked about, the products and services that we discussed. So that kind of is very foundational as well, when you think about both the customer piece and the grid piece.
This is a unique opportunity to sort of not just take a look at the classic load planning in isolation,
that's right,
customers in isolation. Those two are in fact related. So some of the things that we've seen as sort of scenario plans that folks are going through is trying to understand the load on individual substations or feeders, but not just in the aggregate, right? And here's kind of not where the smart meter technology comes in, but also disaggregation technology comes in. So being able to know that the load in a particular neighborhood is being driven because of an increasing adoption of electric vehicles, for example.
That's right.
Provides you different insights than knowing that load is going up because there's a secular trend towards heating usage going up. Maybe the winters are getting colder and heating usage is going up. And some things are sort of trends that are going to continue. Some things might be seasonal trends. And so you might over-provision a network based on a seasonal trend that is going to revert to the mean. And you might under-provision a network by ignoring a signal that is buried inside the noise, if you will, right? That tells you it's the EVs that are driving it. So
that's right.
The smart meter investment and load planning, that's been an interesting marriage that we've seen.
The other thing we also think about, we manage billions of dollars of assets on the grid, and optimizing asset health is such an important piece of the equation as well. Just adding on to what you just brought up with respect to load planning and having better visibility to how energy is getting consumed, when it's getting consumed, all of those patterns in a more real-time fashion. But also as it relates to if you think about preventive and predictive maintenance of assets on the grid. And so that's another area where we are leveraging data points from multiple sources. We have maintenance data, and taking all of those and really going in and being able to prevent a transformer from failing, right? And really going in and doing more predictive maintenance, we believe is, a huge area of opportunity as well. And we, so some areas that we've started making some investments in as well.
No, that's true. As you said, the power of AI, this is an obvious application of it, predictive maintenance, predictive failures, and so forth. Excellent. So let's move to the third pillar then, Bhavani, which was, digital transformation from the point of view of how our work lives are changing, and particularly important given the pandemic situation we're in.
No one would have guessed, right, even in their wildest dreams, if you'd asked any of us 5 months ago that we would be working the way we are working. And, our investments in technology over the last 2 years have been a significant enabler, of this overall pivot that we've all had to do. We have, 65% of our coworkers actually are working remotely. And then, the nature of our business, we have coworkers in the field, in our energy centers, in our nuclear plant, helping power the quality of life for our customers every day. So we do have coworkers actually in our facilities as well. But really, to be able to shift the 65% so we can keep our remainder coworkers actually safer, right? I think has been a big part of the success for us. And so, continuing to invest in technology that not just, enables our work for today, but for what's ahead of us is a huge focus for us. The nature of work is shifting in many functions, and that, if you look at it holistically, I talked about a lot of automation as it relates to how we engage directly with customers, how we think about our grid. If you think of all our back office, front office functions, there's a lot of change happening there as well. I'll highlight one significant transformation effort for us. We call it the Digital Field Experience Initiative, and it's a multi-year effort. It involves, we have 200 plus coworkers from, various parts of our business, from our distribution side, our transmission side, both Missouri and Illinois, as well as our digital organization, all working together on this, transformative effort. And what it is really, changing how we do work in the field and the back office functions that support the field. So really, we have 6,000 plus coworkers, end of the day, that will be impacted through this journey. And it is digitizing how we do work management, scheduling, planning, asset management, end to end. And really it is, mobile enabling and digitizing all of those processes. And some of it is also decommissioning, some 25, 30-year-old platforms, but much of it is just rethinking the process, a lot of manual process that we have today, with respect to this whole effort. And so that has been just a huge initiative for us. We're about, I'd say about midway through, and we have a significant milestone. Through the next 12 to 18 months, we will get to where we'll have a highly digitized posture there. And then the key in all of these scenarios, right, is to put those platforms and enable those processes, but also have that critical, talent posture alongside that can continuously innovate. So, as I said, just for our customers, the wow of today, if yesterday is the norm of today, it's the same thing with, how we do work and efficiency and productivity and experience for our coworkers. I think the other thing is the Digital Field Experience program, while it drives, significant efficiencies, differentiating coworker experience, really mobile enables, digitizes our front and back office operations. One of the, most valuable benefits is the tie back to the customer experience, because having our customer service representatives in our call centers truly having visibility to what is happening with our field, as our field might be restoring an outage from a storm, and being able to provide that real-time visibility. So, the more you can actually digitize the field experience, you provide more real-time, accurate, timely and frequent enough updates to your customers as well.
So, in closing, Bhavani, you started off by really talking about its mission, and a key phrase that I sort of latched onto there was the notion of the quality of life, right? You talked about, you look at Ameren's role as improving people's quality of life through the kinds of energy-related products and services that you provide. Now, we've talked about 3 of the 5 pillars, of course. But if you had to sort of sum up and conclude and really talk about sort of your pride in what Ameren is doing in terms of improving quality of life, what have we not touched upon today that you might want to cover as we conclude?
What brought me to Ameren and what I'm really very, very proud of every day is just the mission of the organization and our, the powering the quality of life, right? I mean, you impact the life of everyone around you in the community that you live in and serve in every day. And, I've never felt closer and at the edge, as I do today. And you have an ability to go in and do that in a very unique fashion. Like I said, the industry is shifting a lot, with respect to customer expectations, with respect to, the connected devices in the smart grid of the future. as it relates to critical infrastructure and cyber and, customer affordability that goes hand in hand. So it's just a very unique time. And, it really just the ability to go in and make that impact, in the community you live in every day is huge. And so that's what keeps me going every day at Ameren.
Well, Bhavani, looks like, there's a long road ahead of you, but it's like an interesting road. And if the journey is as interesting as the destination is, that's all we can all ask for, right? So thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you sharing both your personal journey and Ameren's overall vision and the path that Ameren is on. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.